Most people believe evil looks obvious. Loud. Aggressive. Unhinged. But real psychological danger almost never announces itself that way. In reality, the most harmful individuals are often the easiest to be around, the calmest in the room, and the ones who seem almost boringly normal at first glance. And that's exactly why they're so hard to detect. Think about it for a second. If someone truly intended to manipulate, exploit, or harm others, would it make sense for them to look threatening or unstable? Of course not. The human mind learns quickly that survival depends on blending in. So the most dangerous personalities don't stand out. They adapt. They observe. They mirror. What keeps people watching is this: evil doesn't hide behind chaos. It hides behind familiarity. An emotionally dangerous person understands something most people don't. Social trust is built on patterns. Politeness. Shared values. Predictable reactions. So they study those patterns carefully, not to connect, but to camouflage themselves inside them. They smile at the right moments. They say the expected things. They react just enough to seem human, but never enough to reveal anything real. And here's the unsettling part. They often appear more composed than everyone else. Less emotional. Less reactive. Almost impressive in stressful situations. That's not strength. That's distance. Emotional distance that allows them to calculate instead of feel. In the first minutes of knowing them, nothing feels wrong. That's intentional. They don't rush intimacy. They don't push boundaries immediately. They let you feel safe first. Because trust, once established, becomes a tool. Now listen closely, because this is where people usually miss the warning signs. Evil doesn't show itself through aggression at the beginning. It shows itself through subtle inconsistencies. Small emotional gaps. Moments where empathy feels rehearsed rather than spontaneous. Reactions that seem correct, but somehow delayed, like they were chosen rather than felt. At this stage, your intuition might whisper something is off, but your logic quickly shuts it down. They're just reserved. They're socially awkward. They're private. And that's how the mask stays intact. Because the mask isn't dramatic. It's reasonable. In about a minute, I'm going to explain the real psychological mechanism behind this behavior. The reason some people can wear normality so convincingly, and why your brain is often trained to miss it. Once you understand that, you'll never look at charm, calmness, or emotional control the same way again. Before that, there's one more thing you need to notice. Truly dangerous personalities don't crave attention the way insecure people do. They crave access. And the fastest way to access someone's inner world is by appearing safe, relatable, and emotionally neutral. They don't reveal who they are. They wait for you to reveal who you are first. And that's where the real game begins. The reason your brain struggles to detect these people is not weakness. It's design. Human psychology evolved to prioritize social harmony over constant suspicion. If we questioned everyone's intentions all the time, we wouldn't survive as a social species. So your mind is trained to assume normality first, especially when someone follows social rules smoothly. An emotionally dangerous person exploits this perfectly. They understand that people trust consistency more than kindness. So they stay consistent. Same tone. Same behavior. Same controlled reactions. Nothing extreme. Nothing alarming. Just enough warmth to seem human, just enough distance to stay unreadable. This is where the mask becomes powerful. They don't fake emotions aggressively. They regulate them. Their expressions are calibrated, not spontaneous. Their empathy sounds right, but it doesn't move them internally. They say the words people expect to hear, but they don't experience the emotional weight behind those words. And your brain fills in the rest. When someone appears calm during emotional moments, we often label them as mature, rational, or emotionally intelligent. But there's a difference between emotional regulation and emotional absence. One comes from awareness. The other comes from detachment. Here's the disturbing part. Many of these individuals learned early in life that showing real emotion was dangerous, ineffective, or unnecessary. So instead, they learned observation. They learned pattern recognition. They learned how people react, what earns trust, what creates closeness, and what makes others lower their guard. And they practiced. Not consciously in a villainous way, but adaptively. Over time, the mask stopped feeling like a mask. It became their interface with the world. Controlled. Polished. Normal enough to disappear into any environment. This is why these personalities often seem impressive at first. They don't overshare. They don't panic. They don't emotionally leak. In a world full of emotional chaos, that level of control feels grounding. Safe. Even attractive. But here's what your intuition is actually picking up on when something feels off. It's not fear. It's imbalance. You notice that emotional exchanges feel one-sided. You reveal more than they do. You adapt more than they do. You explain yourself, while they remain slightly out of reach. Soon, I'll explain why this imbalance is the first real crack in the mask, and why your discomfort is not paranoia, but perception. Once you understand that, you'll start noticing patterns you can't unsee. Because the mask doesn't slip through anger or cruelty. It slips through subtle power shifts in emotional exchange. And most people miss that entirely. This is the stage where things quietly shift, and most people don't realize it's happening until much later. Once trust is established, once you feel emotionally safe, the mask doesn't come off. It tightens. And it starts doing real work. The emotionally dangerous person begins to test boundaries in small, almost invisible ways. Nothing dramatic. Nothing you could easily point to. A comment that slightly reframes your reaction. A moment where your feelings are subtly minimized. A situation where you're made to question whether you're being too sensitive, too emotional, or overreacting. And because everything else about them seems reasonable, you internalize the doubt. This is how control begins. Not through force, but through confusion. They never directly invalidate you. They simply respond in ways that make you doubt your own interpretation of events. Calm tone. Logical phrasing. No visible aggression. Just enough distance to make you feel off balance. Here's the psychological trick behind it. When one person remains emotionally opaque while the other becomes increasingly transparent, power shifts automatically. You start explaining yourself more. Clarifying your intentions. Justifying your feelings. Meanwhile, they stay composed, undefined, and untouched. And that imbalance creates dependency. At this point, people often say things like, "I don't know why I feel anxious around them," or "I feel like I'm always doing something wrong, but I can't explain what." That's not insecurity. That's your nervous system detecting inconsistency between words and emotional reality. The mask works because it avoids extremes. They are never cruel enough to leave. Never warm enough to fully connect. You remain in a state of emotional uncertainty, constantly trying to recalibrate, constantly adjusting yourself to regain the sense of safety you felt at the beginning. And here's the most damaging part. Over time, you start blaming yourself. You assume the problem is your communication, your expectations, your sensitivity. The person wearing the mask rarely needs to accuse you. Your mind does it for them. Soon, I'll explain why this pattern is so hard to break, and why intelligent, emotionally aware people often get trapped in it longer than anyone else. Understanding that will change how you interpret calmness, control, and emotional distance forever. Because at this stage, the mask isn't just hiding who they are. It's reshaping how you see yourself. Here's the truth most people never hear. The mask works not because the person wearing it is brilliant, but because the human mind is deeply uncomfortable with ambiguity. We want coherence. We want explanations. We want to believe that if something feels wrong, there must be a clear reason we can name. When we can't find one, we turn inward. That's why this kind of person is so effective. They never give you enough evidence to confront them directly, but they give you just enough inconsistency to keep you questioning yourself. Your mind keeps trying to resolve the gap between how they appear and how you feel around them. And in that gap, they remain untouched. What finally reveals the mask isn't a dramatic outburst or a moment of cruelty. It's repetition. Patterns. The same emotional imbalance showing up again and again, no matter how calmly everything is discussed. You realize that conversations never lead to clarity. That accountability never fully lands. That empathy is always verbal, never embodied. And then something clicks. You notice that the calm you admired isn't peace. It's detachment. The emotional control you respected isn't maturity. It's insulation. They don't feel the weight of situations the way you do, because they are not emotionally invested in mutual understanding. They are invested in maintaining position. This is where awareness becomes power. The moment you stop trying to decode them and start observing how you change around them, the illusion weakens. You see how often you doubt yourself. How often you adapt. How often you explain your feelings to someone who never truly engages with them. The mask survives on your effort. It collapses when you stop participating. And that's the real lesson here. Evil doesn't always look like malice. Often, it looks like neutrality without conscience, calm without connection, normality without depth. It doesn't scream. It blends. It waits. It lets others do the emotional labor while it remains untouched. Once you understand that, you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" And you start asking a far more important question. Why am I the only one trying to make this feel human? That question changes everything.